Hey guys, game 1 of the World Chess Championship match between Liren and Gukesh Demarajo has just ended. And it's been a crazy ride, an impeccable play by one of the opponents, and an incredible result. Let me show you this game. This blew my mind, and this will probably blow yours if you like chess and if you were following the events. Everybody was saying that Gukesh is a heavy favorite. You must have seen probably some of my podcast episodes where Top GM said it. Din is washed. Din is in no condition to compete. Let's see if he was. Okay, so e4, e6. My beloved French defense, my favorite opening against 1e4, and I'm glad to see that Din plays it. And here we have a standard classical variation. There is a move bishop b4, the win over, but many people, including myself, play knight f6, a perfectly fine move. e5, knight drops back. Now black's ideas revolve around playing on the queen side, very often going, for example, a6, b5 or a5, as you will see later. And here, Gukesh chooses the plan with f4, and now most people play knight f3, but Gukesh plays it's called the two knights variation, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So a rarer approach. This knight goes to e2 to free this square for the c pawn, and this knight will go to f3. But the drawback of this move order is that the bishop can no longer go to d3. But it's a rare move, and Din was not prepared, or he probably was prepared, but he was not expecting this. That's why after the logical knight c6, putting more pressure on the pawn, and c3, this is all logical. Here they both have like close to the initial amount of time that they got, close to 2 hours. And here Din entered into a very, very deep thing. And I read Jan Nepomniachtchi's Telegram channel in Russian, and he was saying that it's a pain to watch. Come on, Din takes 30 minutes in a well-known theoretical position. It's not good, not a good sign. Yeah, Din took 30 minutes and played a5. So now he's down to an hour and a half. So he spent like a quarter of his allotted time for the first 40 moves, a quarter of his time on one move, on move 7. Obviously, he knew this. Probably he was deciding what to do because there are various ways to play this. a6 is very common, b5 is very common, c takes d4, queen b6, but they all are probably more common than a5. a5 is a rare move, but still it exists. Knight f3, a4, pushing this pawn. Maybe later a3 will come, maybe b5, b4 will come, maybe queen b6, maybe queen a5. There are also various plans here. White continues development, bishop e7, and now g4. People, commentators during the match were debating, is this prep or not? Because g4, putting the pawn on g4 is a novelty. It's weakening the king side. For example, now black can check white, and it seems that if white takes, check, this is a fork, and this wins the g4 pawn, even though the engine says that it's okay. Even you can sack this pawn, the engine says, and rook g1, and white is doing great. But nonetheless, g4 is a kind of a weakening move. And very often in such positions, white plays for h4 and h5 and pushes on this file, but not with g4, but h4. So g4 is a bit unusual, and the engine doesn't like it. The engine already says that black is better, but probably this was some prep by Gukesh, or maybe he improvised over the board. This looks kind of menacing because f5 is on the cards, but also sometimes g5 to suffocate black with these pawns. They connect 4, and now these would form a beautiful construction. So after g4, there are many moves come to mind for black, maybe even like h5 or f6, but Din decided to go for queen a5, logical continuation, pressuring this diagonal. Now maybe he wants to take here, and the c pawn cannot take back. So bishop g2 developing. Black is still actually better. So g4 objectively, according to the engine, is not good, but practically it's very scary. For me, I would prefer to play this with white, I think, because I like attacking, and here there is some attack brewing, probably. You will see whether it was brewing or not. So a3, putting some bone into the throat of white over there. Now takes, and white cannot take with a pawn, but white has an intermezzo, an intermediate move, b4. First we attack the queen, now we have blocked this diagonal, queen drops back, now we take. Now we take, and the position now is better for white. White is pressuring, black has a horrible bishop. It's not seeing light of day anytime soon. And white has a spacious advantage. Maybe this could be the plan. This pawn is, on the one hand, it's an asset. On the other hand, it's a weakness. So who knows? Okay, knight b6. Great timely move by Dean. He wants to put the knight on c4, which is a hole in the position because pawns don't go backwards. The b4 pawn cannot go to b3 to control this c4 square. And now this square will be occupied by the black's knight. Also, white does not have the pawn on d3 to stop it. So good rerouting of the knight. White castles, knight c4, attacking the e3 bishop. Bishop draws back. And bishop d7. White is a little bit better still because black has not yet castled. Maybe black will not castle. We will see. This bishop is still very bad, the French bishop. And yes, black has this one good piece, the knight on c4, but all other pieces are like so-so. Okay, queen e2 takes. There is a trade. And now knight b2. The knight jumps in even further. Looks a bit weird, but actually it's the best move, or one of the best moves in the position. Because now this queen is also a good piece. It's putting pressure on c3. And once c3 falls, if it falls, then b4 is a weakness. And d4 knight loses the base that is holding it. So this is a very important square, very important pawn that should be pressured by black now. So queen e3 protects this. Now there is one defender, one attacker, but rook c1, rook c8 adds another attacker. Now 2 times black is pressuring this pawn. White defends it, and now suddenly black is taking over the game. Because queen c4, now this hole is utilized by the queen. And it may take this pawn, maybe it will not take this pawn, but it will put the knight on d3. And these light squares are very weak for white. And white has also not the best bishop of all times, and this bishop also is not too active. So currently, it's getting a little bit unpleasant. And Gukesh has spent so much time. He's now down to, he's not like worse on time, but he's already a bit worse on the clock, on the position. And on the clock, they're around equal 30 minutes each. 30-ish minutes each. So, okay, f5. Gukesh tries to go for some counterplay because black's king is still in the center. If your opponent's king is in the center, you should strike, open up the position in the center. This is the rule of thumb. Always do this if you don't know what to do. Okay, f5. Of course, black is not obliged to take because that would be met with e6 and white is crushing. This is why you need to open up the center if your opponent's king is in the center. But instead, black offers a trade of queens. Because if white takes, knight d3, and black is dominating, this knight is amazing, and some pawns of white are overextended and will fall, and it's already minus 1.6, this position. So queen takes d3 would be a bad move. Gukesh avoids the trade of the queens. Turns out this is a mistake. He should have gone queen f4, but still black is better, but we will not go into complications. Here queen e1, also a logical move. He wants to not to lose touch with this pawn, which is still being attacked 2 times. Bishop g5, a great move. Now you see this bishop used to be on e7, but it was not doing too much there. Now it's doing an important job of attacking this rook, which is guarding this pawn. And this rook is now a little bit clumsy. It goes to c2. Now this knight should stay guarding it, otherwise it will be taken. So looks a bit clumsy to me. Rook c4. Now the third piece of black tries occupying the square. Before it was the knight on c4, then it was the queen, now it's the rook. This square is like a very popular spot for partying, you know, like everybody wants to go there. Like in your city, in your town, probably there is a spot where all the cool kids hang out. This is the c4 square for the black pieces. h4. Gukesh desperately tries to create some counterplay, because still black's king is not castled. This rook is in the center, and if white manages to open up the position, maybe white has some chances. And also, actually, rook c4 posed a concrete threat of taking on d4, because this knight, as I said, defends this rook. So, for example, if white plays h3, rook takes d4, and take the rook, and black is a piece up. That's why h3 was just like an example of a meaningless move. So Gukesh went h4, attacking the bishop. Now he's creating counter threats, counter attacks. But bishop f4, a great move. And Dean is playing fast. He's playing in a confident way. He's outplaying his young opponent. What is going on? I was like, is he going to win this game? Or is he going to collapse? Because, you know, Dean recently has not been playing his best chess. He has gotten a number of winning positions recently in tournaments against strong players, but he has squandered all of them. He hasn't won a classical chess game in like half a year or even more. So I was like, I don't know, maybe we see the old Dean, maybe he will blunder something now. Let's see. Queen b1. Desperately trying to hold on. So this is a passive move, of course, but it serves the purpose of defending this rook, because rook d4 otherwise was coming here. For black again is threatening rook d4 takes and queen c4. So queen b1, desperately trying to hold on. Now black takes a pawn. Black is now up a pawn. And as I said, this pawn was very important. It's the base covering both d4 and b4. Now b4 is hanging. What's even more important is that this pawn is now weak. The bishop is attacking it. And these all pawns are weak, actually. It's very, very difficult to play this. Okay, takes, knight e2, forking the queen and the bishop, trying to at least get the two bishops advantage for white, trade the knight for the bishop, even at the cost of a pawn. Black takes the pawn, white takes the bishop, black takes the knight. Now, Gukesh is down to 10 minutes. Dean has 16, close to 17 minutes. He has a big time advantage, and he has two extra pawns. The pawns in the center, by the way, the central pawns usually are valued more than some A or H pawns. So if Dean manages to consolidate, he will have a winning advantage. But there is a very strong move here for white. Bishop c5. Discovered attack on the queen, giving up yet another pawn. But then some complications ensue, because black is not able to castle, and black is not able to activate the rook because this bishop is so strong. And this bishop on c5 is dominating the position. Black is unable to develop the rook, and it's anyone's game. Even though black is down, black is up 3 pawns already. So that would have been a great opportunity for Gukesh. But somehow, instead of going bishop c5, he was afraid of something probably, he went queen c2, which is the second best move, but it's by far worse, because now black can threaten the trade of the queens. If white takes, then we trade the queens and the endgame is winning, so white cannot take, queen d2, and now black castles. And the huge difference in this position, and the one that I showed you before, is that black's king is out of danger. This rook suddenly is very active, and black is just winning. And these two pawns, far advanced as they may be, they are not assets, they are liabilities. They are weak, and the king is weak. These two bishops, of course, they look nice, beautiful, but they don't do much. And black is winning. Bishop d4, attacking this knight and probably trying to go for some complications, but just knight d3, the best move in the position. Dean is playing like an engine. He's finding all the best moves. Now it's -2. Black is winning. Will Dean blunder? Will Dean squander his advantage? Will Gukesh miraculously save this game or turn it around? Let's see. So knight d4, knight d3 is a great move because it's interposing the queen. The queen used to defend this bishop. Now it's no longer defending it. Black is threatening to take. And also this knight is very, very, very dangerous. e5 is on the cards, for example. Once e5 occurs, then the bishop will be active, so it's not looking good. Queen e3 defends the bishop. And now takes and e5. Great move. Even though in this position the knight is hanging and it's pinned, the queen will get hit if the knight leaves. But black doesn't have to do anything with the knight. e5. You can take my knight. If you take my knight, I'll take this with check. Takes, and the endgame is just winning, because black is up 2 pawns, and there is this strong A pawn. This is a passed pawn, doubled passed pawn, so it's completely winning. Of course, Gukesh is not going to go for this. Instead, he takes on e5, but this allows... You see, this bishop was blocking this line, and now it's no longer blocking it, so there is a check. And the king is very weak. I said this is a liability. The g4 push turned out to be not that great at all. It's not that great. The engine, like 20 moves ago, 25 moves ago, saw in advance that g4 is a weakening of the position. You should not do this. It predicted this. Well, probably it could not have predicted this, but it predicted that something like this could potentially happen, and it happened. So check, white blocks, bishop f5, and there is a tragic situation for Gukesh because he's playing with the white pieces. His first game ever in the World Chess Championship match. Everybody says he's a heavy favorite. He wants to win, he's playing for a win, but he has a losing position. -3, and he has 43 seconds on the clock to make 4 moves. So he has to blitz out the moves, but he has no moves. He doesn't know what to do because bishop e4 is coming. Because this bishop is pinned, and once bishop e4 comes, then there will be trade simplifications and black will emerge 2 pawns up. In the sand game, also this this bishop is hanging. So what to do? And the king is so weak for white. He draws back, trying to block this file, but bishop e4 nonetheless. Still, black can trade the pieces. It's all fine for black. King h2, desperately trying to go for some complications, maybe bishop h3, maybe some checks. And also 20 seconds. He has 20 seconds on his clock. Gukesh has to make 3 more moves in 20 seconds. So he has to make them immediately. He doesn't have too much time. Dean has 2.5 minutes. And he knows that he's winning, but he has to stay calm. He has to stay composed. He has to not squander this because this is maybe once in a match time opportunity. You don't get these winning opportunities too often in modern chess, where everybody like knows how to make a draw. So he has to win this. h6, a very important, very precise move, played with just 15 minutes spent on it. Because the king needs some luft, needs to escape some perpetuals if there is a risk of perpetual checks. So h6, very precise, extremely precise. Bishop h3, okay, queen d1. Now, if you check me, I'll just hide on h7, there are no more checks. And I, in turn, am threatening queen h1 checkmate. The king has no moves. So white goes bishop d6, freeing this g3 square for the king. Now the king has 1 move. And this move, he made with 4 seconds on the clock. 4 seconds on the clock, and Gukesh made this move. Now, after move 40, he gets 30 extra minutes added to his clock, but it's hopeless. It's -6. He's losing. Dean just checks him and picks up the a2 pawn, and it's over. And it's over. It's -6.6 already, according to the engine. White has no counterplay. These pieces are just marvelously placed here, and the a pawn will queen. Or white's king will get checkmated. You can choose the ending that you like more. So Gukesh delivers 1 check, king h8, and in this position, Gukesh, his head in his hands, he realizes that there's nothing else to be done. Queen g2 check is coming, and yeah, he can prolong the agony, go back, for example, but then queen b2, a2, a1 queen, he can do nothing, and he resigns in this position. This is crazy. Nobody expected this. No, like, betting companies. Everybody was saying, yeah, Gukesh will win, of course, by a huge margin. He will win, like, not in 14, but in 10 games, maybe 11. And I wanted to make a video predicting the outcome of the match. I actually managed to predict the result of the Olympiad. I predicted that both Indian teams will win the Chess Olympiad. You can check out the video on my channel. And I wanted to make a prediction video, but I didn't know what to predict. I wasn't sure. I wanted to see what condition Dean is in. And I can say that King Dean is back. It's now anyone's game. It's anyone's match. It's 50-50. Maybe we will see Gukesh strike back. I'm sure he will strike back. I'm sure there will be many more wins, many more games which do not end in a draw in this match. I'm sure that Gukesh will win not 1, but more games. Probably Dean will also strike. So it's going to be a very fascinating match. To everyone who doubted it, who said that, oh, Magnus Carlsen is not playing, it's not going to be interesting. It is going to be very, very interesting. Stay tuned, guys, and subscribe, hit the bell button for the upcoming recaps of further games. I will recap them all. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.